guys, happy Sunday.
Hi everyone.
So we have this super cute little project for you. It's adorable, it's tiny, and I would have candy in it. However, I don't have any that fits. So this opens up like this, and your candy, if you have candy that fits, here, would go in here like this. But my Skittles is a bit too big. So this will fit Ghirardelli. This will fit York Peppermint Patties, the mini ones. And it will fit a few other candies as well. It will not fit a fun size bag of Skittles. And it does not fit, what size Twix?
The mini.
The mini Twix. Does not fit those. But it's super fun. And not counting the little decoration for the front, you can get 4 of these from 1 sheet of cardstock. So let us show you how to do that.
Yeah.
All right. So we are going to start with cutting our paper down to 6 inches by 6 inches.
I came prepared. I'm already there.
I am not. So I'm using the mix-in papers, and Danielle is using
Cardstock. I am using lilac.
It looks like lilac. All right. So the next thing you'll need is a scoreboard. Yes, you can do this with your paper trimmer. It's easier to not do this with your paper trimmer. All right. So you need to grab your scoring utensil, whatever that happens to be. And on the first side, we're going to score at 2 inches and 4 inches. Pretty simple, right?
Yes. I know, I'm catching up. I forgot where I put my stool, my tool. It was right here. I was looking for it.
It was
okay,
hiding.
2 and 4.
Then we're going to rotate just once, and then we are going to do 2, 2.5, 4.5, and 5. Now, before we do anything else, we're going to keep using our scoreboard. So when you look at your paper, I've just moved it. I haven't turned it or anything. You have 3 full squares. You have 3 rectangles. You have 3 full squares and 2 sets of rectangles that are different sizes. Okay? So these 4 squares, we are going to do a little bit more scoring on. So this is the tip. I've shared this in the past, not necessarily in this group, but this is the tip that I have. So you'll see on this particular scoring board, because I do have more than one, this one I have the 6-inch marked, and I just grabbed a pencil and just ran it up and down the track a couple times. Okay, doesn't have to be perfect, doesn't have to be whatever, but it will help you line up stuff. So I'm going to start with this bottom square here, and I'm going to put my embossing stylus right in that corner, and I am going to make sure that I am lined up on this marked line. Okay, and then I'm going to press down with my embossing tool, and then I'm going to rotate until my corner is also lined up directly on that line. And this is why having it marked is so helpful, because that way you know that you're on the right line. Okay? So we're going to go from the inside to the outside corner. And we are going to do that on all 4 of those squares that we talked about.
I'm going to eyeball it.
So you can just line up your score mark on the line, put your tool in the corner, rotate your paper, and score. You can also do this with a ruler. You can do it just plain by hand. There is that option as well. All right, so now we have them all scored. And we are done with our scoring board. I'm not going to bring it back, I promise. Now we are going to burnish all of our board lines. So you want to use your bone folder for this. If you don't have a bone folder, you can use a scraper tool. If you have a Cricut, you can use one of your clear blocks. Although you can actually melt your block. That's, I promise you it's possible. I've done it. You can use a spoon from the kitchen. You can use lots of things. Now, I'm not enforcing these diagonal scores just yet because it's going to be a little bit easier if we cut off a few pieces first. So you can see I have two little rectangles, a row of squares, rectangles, and a row of squares. And we are just going to cut off like Danielle just did, and we're going to cut off both of the rectangles on the right and left side. And you're just going to line up on those score lines, cut off those bits. And then on mine, so this larger rectangle that I have, I am going to just trim off a smidge just to that first score line. I'm not taking off.
I'm doing something. Go ahead, sorry.
I was just gonna say, I'm not taking off a ton, and I'm trying to keep them about the same size, but they're not perfect. That's okay.
Yeah. And I'm not going to do that because I'm going to do a different closure in the end. So I'm going to leave mine alone.
And then I'm going to corner round. I'm going to attempt to corner round. They look a little bit funny. That's okay. All right, so now to burnish these diagonal lines, you are going to push down on the diagonal and you're going to push together on the two edges for that square. And then you're going to burnish. Does that make sense? You're going to do that on all four corners. And it goes together pretty quickly. Even the first time putting it together, it goes together pretty quickly. All right, so then when you pick it up, you can set it, so this middle tiny rectangle is going to be the bottom, and it will kind of sit up without having to hold on to it.
Mm-hmm.
And this is obviously our flap. And the way to put this together is you're going to just push these wings together, and you're going to put, one is going to go towards the back. So on my example,
Follow Michelle's words.
my right back little diagonal is going to go along the back of the box, and my left front triangle is going to go up against the front of the box. So try to show, so it looks like it's not going to work. So it kind of looks like a zigzag. Trying to get enough light here that you guys can see this. There, that helps, I think. So we're going to push together. You can see the zigzag. Okay. And if you keep a hold of it like this, it's gonna feel like it's not gonna work. So move your fingers to the back of the box and the front of the box and keep pushing.
Yes, you really want to play with the paper and so that it starts to maneuver the way you want it to.
So, and here you can see with my left front diagonal, it's in the very front. My right back triangle is along the very back. And here you can see this is where you would have your spot for your candy. So when you close it all together like this, it looks like nothing. You're like, what good is this? I promise you that your candy fits right there, just like that. And you don't want to glue it, it's because then you won't be able to get the candy out. And
Right.
this way, it opens like this. So you could add an extra little note in there or something if you wanted. So, and then on mine, I trimmed on the edges a little bit because I'm going to tuck it into this very first little pocket. Yeah. And the first time it's more fiddly.
And I like that idea. I like the tuck part because that leaves it at a complete no glue, no adhesive needed sort of project. But I have to be difficult, so I'm going to do something different.
So tell us what you're doing.
So I'm going to do a belly band closure. And right now what I'm doing is I'm just burnishing my folds because when I go to do the that's correct. That's not right. When I go to do the belly band closure, I want to make sure that all of my box stays good and tight. So I'm just reburnishing all of my burnishing all of my folds so that it fits nicely and there's no bulges. And so I'll end up wrapping my piece around it for a belly band. See? So now I'm ready. It's going to close like this. I have cut a little stitched square right here to go on the front, and I'm going to stamp that with a little sentiment from the charity stamp set, which I cannot think. What's the name of it, Michelle? It's D1920, and I cannot think of the name of it. It's beautiful. It's the brand new one.
You Make Me Happy.
Yeah.
Yeah. I love this one. I haven't used it nearly enough yet, but
yeah, I like this. Is one of my favorites. So I'm gonna do a little of that. So I'm gonna set my little zigzag off to the side, and I'm just gonna stamp this really quick. And I'm gonna put my belly band is from Celebrate Today. I know no one guessed that I would use anything from Celebrate Today, but here we are. And it's little candles. And so my sentiment from You Make Me Happy says just for you, and I'm going to do it in Glacier.
And I am using the card subscription stamp set again. I know, big surprise, right? I love this stamp set so much more than I thought I was going to. And I actually have done some stamp surgery, and I'm going to use the For You, but the stamp itself says, I am here for you always. So I cut it apart just because it's not an easy masking because of how the layout of the stamp is. And then I'm going to use a little heart from this New Beginnings, and this is the same heart that I used in the stamp smooshing on the embossing powder. So it's that same heart, and I'm stamping on the smallest little stitched bracket die cut that I did.
That's gonna be very cute. Gonna add some
And
flowers from that set around my sentiment. If they'll stop sticking to my fingernails. There we go. And so I'm just laying them down on my project first, and then I will pick them up with the block when I have my placement where I like it.
I like that. That's a good idea.
Make sure, if you do that, make sure your stamps are clean. If they've been used previously. You will not be happy with the smudge.
Very true. Although you could do it on the back side if you have, like, you're using a square, so you could do it on the back side so you have the placement still. And then even if you do have ink on there, it's not such a big deal.
Yep, you could do that. But I'm working around my sentiment, so I have to, and I've never used these ones before, so I'm good. Oh.
So on mine, I'm just gonna grab one single square from the Shaker acetate, Shaker window foam and acetate set, just because I don't have to use any scissors. I don't. And it's there, and then I'm just gonna put this on the front.
Here we go. See if you can see it. There we go.
Oh, super cute.
So I'm gonna come back in with this guy. So I'm gonna attach my square to my flap, right? And then my belly band will go around and that will hold that all together. I need some adhesive to do that.
So I've decided I'm going to add a little bit more to my box. So I have to take off my.
Shoot.
I
Pay
am.
attention when
Did you glue it to the wrong spot?
I glued it upside down, but I just got out my cornstarch DIY. I don't recommend Static Buddy, if you will, or whatever the things are called by brand. I made one myself. I don't recommend doing that. But it's here, so now I feel like I have to use it because then it would be wasteful. Anyway, so I just put that on there to get the stick off so that I can put it on the right way.
Gotcha.
Okay.
All right. So I'm, trying to do this the hard way. So why would I want to do the easy way? Right? It's too much fun to do it the easy way.
Well, I think it's nice to have a challenge.
All right. All right. Sorry. I'm sure you can hear that. And yeah, they're watching a Twitch streamer. Apparently something good happened. I have to put a little bit of glue on my piece because I used enough of the sticky area to take up my my words away.
Yeah, see, it happens more often than
we'd like.
It happens to other people besides me. So what I did with my belly band is I just kind of give it some little folds just feeling around the box, and then I took it off, and then using my fingers, I felt those, and then taking my bone folder and just reinforcing those. That way, I eyeball it. This is your guys' my favorite word for everybody. Just eyeball it. Trust me, I understand when there's a time not to eyeball it, but there's no fun in that.
No fun. Eyeballing while crafting is fun.
Well, yeah. Okay, should be a really nice tight fit because you don't want it to pop open. So hopefully my eyeball didn't create it to be too tight. I'm a little off camera, aren't I?
A little bit.
Ha.
It always wants to be difficult when you least want it to be.
I know. Well, I want it to be really nice and snug because this is very, there we go. Because once you put something in there, then you've got something else pressing on it to open. So I really wanted something nice and snug.
That makes sense.
Here we go. Just for you.
Nice.
This is cute. Very simple. It would be great for coworkers. Like if you have a little coworker you want to say, you know, happy birthday to, or your kid's preschool or teacher, or I guess yourself since everybody's homeschooling now.
Hey, then you know you get the right chocolate, right?
Right? Oh, look what his son gave his teacher, me. So anyways, but those are really cute little, or even, you know, like if you just want to tell somebody, like not like Secret Santa, you know what I mean?
Right, but just a little something.
Yeah, like just something to let them know you were thinking of them, or, you know, what have you. So I really like that. I know when we first started doing this, we practiced off camera, so that Michelle was confident that I knew what I was doing. And anyways, and I had told her, I was like, there's no way I would make multiple of these. This is, you know, like this is time consuming. And then now here I am on my second one, and I'm like ready to make another.
Yeah, the first one always takes the longest because you don't know what you're doing. And then when you do the second one, you're like, oh, this is super easy. And then you can totally whip out a bunch of them in no time flat.
Yeah,
So,
you're like, oh, sign me up.
Especially since some of it you could do before cutting. So like you could take your 12 by 12 piece of paper and you could totally score at 2 inches, 4 inches, and then 8 and 10. Sorry, I had to think. I was doing really bad math in my head. I'm like, you can't score at 12 inches. That's the end of the paper. But then you could rotate, and then you could, again, do almost all of the scoring before you cut anything. And so that would be time saving too. Again, the first one's going to take longer because you're going to be doing the math and whatnot.
Yeah.
But yeah, these were really fun to do and so fast. And yeah, they'll fit. Let's see, you can fit 2 of the Ghirardelli chocolates in there if they're not the filled ones, they're just the plain chocolate. So you could fit one that is filled. Sorry, totally brain stalled on that one.
You're good.
And so yeah, tons of ideas. Or, you know, you could even make mini cookies when all of this, you know, fun pandemic stuff is over. And just put a little bit of wax paper around it or parchment paper around it before you slipped in, and then it wouldn't ruin the paper, and you could have, you know, a little cookie or whatever. So
it's endless.
so many options.
So many options.
So
I was trying to see like if there were any embellishments you could put in, you know, like for those that run a team,
right.
you know, if there was any embellishments that you could put in as like, you know, at your team meetings or whatever, you would have to probably rework it, and then you wouldn't get 4 out of a piece of paper if you did it that way. So candy it is, and I'm not going to argue.
Yay for candy. So, all right. So on that note, that is our project for you guys for today. Hopefully you enjoyed it. We cannot wait to see what you do with it and what papers you use and what you end up putting on the very front of it. So it doesn't take a ton, and you know, your one sheet of white cardstock is going to make 11 billion little fronts. So
can you write that number out for me?
11 billion.
Billion. Yeah. Love it.
Yeah, it's a number my kids came home with years ago. So
I love it. So you guys have fun creating in this, and then I will be with you on Monday, and Michelle will be with you on Tuesday.
Exactly, and we will have fun projects for you.
I'm so excited.
All right.
Happy Sunday.
Happy Sunday. See you guys later. Bye.